Hey nerds, welcome to episode 80 of the Nerd Rundown podcast. Coming up on the big show, Captain America is the sexiest man alive. Some of my favorite 80s action names are back. The MCU has some good news and some not so good news. We get a glorious trailer for the return of Baba Yaga in John Wick 4. We power through a bunch of Hollywood news covering everything from giant monsters teaming up, a possible return to the wizarding world of Harry Potter, some Chronicles of Narnia news, and finally the return of Magic Mike. Ready? Hit it.
Hey nerds, welcome to another episode of the Nerd Rundown podcast, where we cover the latest in the nerd world of movies, TV, and more. I'm Darren Stemple, and with me today is my co-pilot, Eric Herr.
I'm your Huckleberry. That's just my game.
Put me some Val Kilmer more, please. all night. We should just start quoting Val. You can find us on our social media like Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and all at the Nerd Rundown. While you're there, hit the like and subscribe buttons, leave a comment, leave a Nerd Box question, give you a nice shout out. And then that even goes for you audio only. Call y'all out. Help us grow the show. Do it without you. And then per usual, you can find us on all the major podcast services. Eric, before we get to another big rundown, let's hear a word from our sponsor, Combat the Chaos. Hey nerds, do you support your veterans and first responders? Well, here at the Nerd Rundown, we support our heroes, and not just the heroes that you see behind me that are drawn to wear a cape or throw a shield, but the real heroes who would lay their lives down so that we can talk about whatever kind of nerd we are. At the Nerd Rundown, our new sponsor, Combat the Chaos, is a veteran-owned clothing company. They donate portions of all their profits to veteran and first responder supporting organizations that are focused on mental health and suicide prevention. Veterans are at a 57% higher risk of suicide instead of those who have not served. This shirt is one of the items you can purchase if you follow our link to find them on Instagram at combat.the.chaos, or at their website, combatthechaos.com. And use the code NRD for 15% off. Now, back to the Nerd Rundown. Back on the rundown, Eric. News I've been waiting for about 12 years since he, in my life, became sexiest alive. But Chris Evans officially has the title of sexiest man alive.
Yes.
He also said this past week that he misses playing Captain America, and I wanted to just shed a few tears. I hope to see him back in the winged helmet soon, or at some point. Wars. Do you agree? Chris Evans is the sexiest man alive.
I don't know. Not my cup of tea, but you know what? I could see where everybody thinks he's pretty good looking guy. But yeah, I like congratulations to him. I did read a story earlier this week after the news came out that all the Avengers have a group text that they have
only the original 6.
Yeah, right. And it would seem that most of them were had a good time giving him a hard time about it. But none more so than Jeremy Renner, I think, from what I understood. Renner had some profanity-laced stuff for him, is what I had read. So nobody would spill the beans on what it exactly was that he said, but everybody the story that I read said that it was it was profanity laced, and it was pretty doggone funny. So I thought it was pretty great.
We'll leave it to the imagination.
Yeah, for sure. So
I
yeah,
believe
congratulations to him. Awesome.
I believe now. Well, no, I was going to say I believe now he's the only one who out of the original six who has six. Obviously, ScarJo hasn't, and then Mark Ruffalo. I don't think Mark Ruffalo had.
Yeah, I know.
He's too
I mean, I
dad-like.
could be wrong, but I don't think it's in the cards for
I don't
Ruffalo.
think so.
So
Now he did take the title from one of our favorite people, Paul Rudd.
yeah.
You know, so
Another MCU guy.
yeah. I believe RDJ and I believe Hemsworth has already been sexiest man. It was time.
Hemsworth hasn't. I'd be shocked. I wasn't sure if he has, but I'm sure he has.
I mean, highly anointed sexiest man, Chris Hemsworth by 75% women. I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, with that accent and the
you can't go wrong, dude.
and the chests, yeah, that's he's got a new series on Disney Plus too, the Limitless series that he did. It's supposed to be pretty good. I've heard some good stuff about it. So
I feel like they first teased that at Disney Investor Day, December 2020.
yeah,
Before this show even started. So I've been waiting, or it may have been during Disney Plus Day at another time, but I feel like it was part of that big investor day when almost a ton of shows.
yeah.
I've been waiting for this one, and when they announced it this week, I was like, oh, I had forgotten about that.
Yeah.
So anyway, gonna have a lot of Disney Plus news coming up today. And we'll move on in the rundown. And in the rundown, again, let me take a step back here for a second and apologize to all the nerds out there. We are having a later release, and we are having a 2-week break here coming up. As our main man Eric is going on vacation, a well-deserved vacation, and since he's the one who makes us look pretty,
And I'm not taking the laptop with me this time. Normally I take the laptop with me when I go on vacation, but
yeah.
But I'm not doing that this time. And I'm not taking it for work or for work. So.
Well, that's the way it should be. So
Yeah.
good job.
Thanks.
Please don't have a moment of weakness tomorrow morning and all right, I'll just bring
I know.
Yeah. Anyway, so we've had a little bit of time in between, recording last week and this week. So there's a lot of news. So we broke it up into categories we can cover it, which was fun.
Yeah, it was good. And the other thing I wanted to say was a big, huge, gigantic thank you to everybody who commented last week. We had a record number of comments on our YouTube channel. It just destroyed the record of comments that we've ever had on there. And
55,
something like that. It was crazy. I think it was in the 60s. Actually, it was like 61.
Oh, it was.
Like
yeah, you're right.
Because I think we were creeping up on the old 666 deal. So it was,
that's right.
Kind of crazy. But
I was like,
yeah,
no,
I want to say thank you to everybody. I think Bryant and both Captain Dunsel had some nice things to say about the show and everything. So I really appreciate you guys liking my work and stuff, and I love the engagement with the show. It's just awesome. We just have a great time, and it makes it more fun to do the show when we have people responding back to us. So thank you.
It might be one of my favorite parts about the show is interacting with everybody online.
Yeah, for sure.
It's awesome. So we're gonna do categories again this week, and the first category up right away. Really hard to choose what category to start with, but our love for 80s action movies.
I don't think you can go wrong.
It kind of trumps a lot of things, and so
yeah.
Alex, I'll take 80s action for 200.
200.
Indiana Jones prequel TV series is in the works at Disney Plus. Before everybody goes, whoa. Harrison
Didn't
Ford's
we
like
already get that?
9,000. Yeah. Oh yeah, we did
Yeah.
get that. I forgot about that. Young
Yeah, they used
Indiana
to have a TV
Jones.
show called The Young Indiana Jones
That's right.
Chronicles. I
And it
think
was
or
really
something like that. It
awesome.
was really great.
I forgot about that. And it's
Yeah,
canon too, I believe.
I think so too. Yeah. So I don't know where
Uh well, this one will focus in on his mentor, Abner Ravenwood.
Ravenwood. Yeah. All
Sounds
right.
like a Harry Potter house.
Right.
Um Abner Ravenwood never appeared in the movies, but mentioned. Plus, he's the father of Marion.
Marion. Yeah.
So
Marion Ravenwood.
we'll
Yeah.
see. I am sure we'll see very young Indy and very young Marion in this. What do you think about this news for one of your favorite franchises,
Uh
or maybe?
no, I like it. I like it. I like the focus on Abner because he is the guy
Okay.
who trained Indy. I do like it, and I think we'll be going back to like the late 1800s. I think is probably, if we're going to do that, it would have to be, because the first movie was like 1920, 1930, something like that. I think it was just before. I think it was 1930, somewhere around in there. So we'd probably
Yeah,
be looking
I
at
think 1932.
yeah, I think we'd probably be looking at like the turn of the century there, maybe, or maybe slightly after the turn of the century. So I think that's kind of cool. Um, Again, not a character that I would have been like, hey, you know who I need to know more about is Abner Ravenwood. But I like it, and you know, who knows, maybe he's a swashbuckling guy like Indy, you know, was. But I always liked how they did different stuff, especially in the Last Crusade, where they, you know, they give him the hat, you know, and they introduce him. I'll tell you, if you were going to we're going to build a series off of a guy that you didn't know, it would probably be the dude that he runs into in the Last Crusade in the very beginning of the movie, where because that dude is like, if you remember, he's in there with all those guys, and there's one dude that that
Oh,
says, he puts the hat on him, he says, "Lost today, kid. Doesn't mean you have to like it," you know. And when he's
yeah.
you could maybe you could do a prequel with that dude and be like, hey, you know, this is the guy that Indy is really kind of based on, is maybe that character more than anything. And it's just a brief couple of seconds,
Yeah.
but this reminds me, I think, of just thinking about Marion for a moment, and the scene with Marion and Indy on the sub, when they're on the boat right before the submarine takes them, and she's on one side of the mirror and he's on the other side of the mirror, and she flips it and hits him in the head, you know, and then then later on she's like, there's something along those lines. She's says, you look pretty rough, and he says, not the it's not the years, it's the mileage, or something like that. And he says it, and I'm like, the older I get, the more I appreciate that particular quote.
Yeah. I've been going through a lot of health stuff lately, so I feel that. Feel
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Well, I it would be cool to see. Listen, we didn't ask for it, but we've seen these things where it's like, oh, we didn't ask for this. Damn, I'm glad we got it. And
yeah, yeah,
you know, the biggest example right now. I
yeah.
just had it.
Yeah, I think, you know, I think we're getting, I don't mind this, because we're divesting from Indiana Jones, which is he's getting older, you know, and clearly we're going to have to move on and do something different. So I don't mind this going into that, and then maybe you could do something later where, as a younger, because I think we're moving on from I don't think we're gonna do anything with the Mutt character from the Crystal Skull. I think we're all just gonna pretend that movie maybe didn't happen, or I'm
Yeah,
not sure. I'm not sure what we're doing there. But
yeah.
um,
Memory hole it.
so I like being able to stay in the indie universe and still get some more stories out of that.
Well, they're
But we'll
planning on
we'll see.
expanding it too. James Mangold, the director of the newest Indiana Jones,
Who we
uh,
love here at the Nerd Rundown.
he's phenomenal. He plans on continuing the Indiana Jones franchise without Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
He came out and said that this week. So, um, we're just going to get more expansion of this universe.
It'll be
See if it
tough.
is
It's going to be tough to
1936.
do. Yeah.
It took place in 1936, right?
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
right at the precipice of Germany invading Poland.
Yeah. World War II. Yeah. Beginning of World War II. Yeah. I don't know. As a segue into the next one, I don't mind this going back to prequel. I don't actually like the news that we're going to talk about next because I really, if you were going to go tell a story, I kind of like the original idea first. So,
Well, let's talk about that because the
yeah,
Rambo franchise, Sylvester Stallone has come out this past week, said that they are there was going to be a spinoff, but now they're turning it into a sequel, which that sounds like muddied water there for me.
yeah.
And it will be a passing of the torch movie to whom we don't know. Like to hear your speculation on who could take for the Rambo franchise, but um, yeah, this is news that's like I'm scared. What do you think?
All right. So the original Sly Stallone's original pitch for this was to have it be a prequel, um, where you take the guy, the young kid straight out of high school, quarterback type guy, and put him into Vietnam, and out comes John Rambo. So you find out like what happens to him to make him the way he is. Now,
That sounds interesting.
which that and that's exactly what I said. That sounds very interesting. That sounds very cool. So them switching this up and making it a sequel, I don't necessarily like that. I thought the last Rambo was a decent movie, and it was a good bow on the end of a series. I don't think anybody was
Nice
asking for
pun.
another. Thank you. You like I did that.
Yeah,
So
unintended.
then did yes. Ka-ching. But I think I this doesn't this doesn't sound as good to me. Now,
Yeah.
here if I'm writing this screenplay, if I'm writing and I'm doing this story, you do both. You do
Mm,
both. Uh you have a passing of the torch type situation here, and you have Rambo in a situation now where he's dealing with these flashbacks. Maybe you tell the story of the flashbacks of him. You have a modern story that you're telling, but you have these flashbacks that tell you the story of how John became the Rambo that he is, and then through the story you also introduce him to this other character that he has to bring along or something, and that's what gives him those flashbacks of like how he got to where he is.
yeah.
So something along those lines out, like I have to flesh that out, but that's kind of what I was thinking was like, okay, you could really kind of do both. I mean, although I would much rather see, if you're not going to split it up, I'd much rather see a John Rambo story where I find out how John, like the shit that John went through. And because you listen to Troutman talk about him, and he's like, if you're gonna chase this guy down, he says you better bring one thing, in the first blood. It's one of my favorite lines, the whole thing. And he says a good supply of body bags, because he's just gonna go through your men like nothing, and
Yeah.
and he does. I mean, he literally
Right.
just goes through these guys like they're nothing. So I'd love to find out how that badass dude becomes that badass dude. So
It'd be really cool, like, or most origin stories is like this is how the guy became a hero. You
right.
know,
Yeah.
here's an origin story where we find out where the guy went wrong, or where
Yeah.
he lost the ticker and it
Well,
just is like straight. Not that he's that guy.
no. Well, I mean, you look at him in the beginning of First Blood. He's a broken dude.
Yeah.
Like he's got PTSD.
Yep.
He's seen things. He's lost everybody that he has ever been friends with and ever been family with. He's a loner, and so he's a broken man, and but Troutman seems to think that he's the most lethal killing machine he's ever seen in his life,
Yeah.
and so I think I would be interested to see like how that lethal killing machine is
Became,
shaped
yeah.
and became who he was, but at the same time, he yes, he's I wouldn't say born and bred for it, but but Troutman does say that he he built, God, what does he say? God didn't build Rambo, I did, and
Yeah.
like Troutman has some awesome quotes in that. And First
Yeah.
Blood, like that is just and
Well, that's the other piece of it is like who you can get a really good casting for a younger Troutman.
yeah,
You get
yep.
who would take who do you think would be a really good person to take over the Rambo?
Well, if you're going to do a prequel story, that's a different thing. If you're going to get somebody to take over for John, like have it be like you're going to carry the torch to something else, I think
It'd be like
if
the John McClane thing where it was like both a sequel and a prequel where they showed the story of how he became Detective John McClane, but that was like in flashbacks, and then the
yeah,
rest of the other half of the
that's what
movie
I'm saying
was
is like, yeah, like that's what I'm saying is like that kind of you kind of tell through flashbacks how he became who he
yeah.
was. I think they've kind of been doing that with the Cobra Kai stuff, go
Yeah.
back and show like what made John Kreese the way John Kreese was, because and you see you didn't start out that way, you didn't start out being a psychopath, but
Right.
um
Vietnam
and
made him.
yeah, Vietnam made him that way, and I imagine Vietnam probably did that to a lot of people. So
Yeah.
the so I wouldn't say that they missed an opportunity, but it's like, okay,
Yeah.
if you had something, where you were going to pass it off to somebody, would have done that, because he's already been to Afghanistan.
Yep.
He in Rambo 3, he was in Afghanistan and he was with the Mujahideen, and
Who are you?
yeah, exactly.
My worst nightmare.
Right, fighting the Soviets, with the big bad enemy, and then, but now it's like, okay, like if I feel like you missed your opportunity since we're not in, our forces aren't in Afghanistan any longer, at least not officially, um, for him to be somehow linked with someone who's in Afghanistan, and then you would
That'd
pull,
be cool, like full circle tie into
yeah.
it. Oh,
So I don't know. I
thread.
honestly,
It's thread.
like I said this earlier, I don't like the idea of them changing this to passing the torch to somebody else. Like I don't like that. I feel like
Would you
the
rather a
best
reboot then? Or would you
well,
rather just never see another Rambo?
I wouldn't mind them going back and telling the origin story of John Rambo. And maybe you could tell a couple more stories in there before he gets to the point where you meet him in First Blood. Like you could probably do a couple different movies in there where he's in Vietnam and
The
going through some
hero
different
and
stuff. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
and yeah, he's the hero guy, and then maybe, the final one, the third one, is he's just a broken. You just see how it just wears him down, and maybe go that route, get a couple movies out of that. But and then you could do some sort of modern day
Yeah.
Rambo. But
Do they get the headband?
if that makes it, man. I don't know if it makes it into.
I would hope that would stay with Sly.
I would too. Yeah.
That
I
was
mean,
one of my all-time favorite action figures. That
I think it
dude,
was awesome.
old, you know, 240,
My
249,
my brother and I,
249s,
my brother, yeah, M60,
or
M60,
M60.
yeah,
Sorry, 249
um,
is my
yeah, yeah.
generation.
You're about 30 years too early, buddy, for
Yeah.
49. Uh, my brother and I, kids, there was a pool next door to my grandparents' house, and they had a diving board on it, and we would go swim over there every once in a while. And so we used to play Rambo in there, and so one of us would pretend to be a guard on top of the thing, and the other one would swim up underneath the diving board and then pull a guy out and grab him and pull him into the water and stuff. It was so great.
That is awesome. I
It
love
was
that.
great.
All
The
right.
things you do
Well,
when you're a kid.
It would
What's
run
really
around
bad is the fact that like Rambo came out when I was like 10 years old, not
Right.
probably before that,
Yeah.
before that First Blood and all that stuff. Like my brother was like 6, like no business watching
No,
Rambo
it's
at that age. But
how
God
you
bless
were
my
made.
father. He's gonna be listening to this podcast. Thank you,
Yeah,
Dad, for giving me a great childhood and
seriously.
letting me watch badass action movie.
It is a different time.
Yeah, it
I
was a
watched a
different
lot of
time.
that stuff at a young age too, and
Yeah,
I'm totally fine. Okay.
yeah.
Um,
Look, we're super normal.
yeah, exactly. All right. Well, our biggest category up next is Alex. I'll take MCU news 400. First up from the MCU, um, Guardians of the Galaxy holiday specials getting really rave reviews. Comes out on the 5th. Like it's going to be a really, 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 really uh, holiday special. No pun intended there.
Right.
But it's got a great holiday theme in it. Drax and Mantis are the standouts. November 25th, isn't that the day after Thanksgiving? I want
Believe
to
so.
say it
Yes. Yep.
is.
Friday after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, because uh, and
Yep.
so that'd be a really great Friday night movie with family, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, excited for this.
Yeah. Yeah. The trailer for it was pretty great. The trampolines. That's really the only thing I remember of is Kevin Bacon and the trampolines. Like,
Yeah.
so I think it looks pretty good. I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to watching it. I love the Guardians.
Yeah.
They're just the great cast. Everybody in there is terrific. I'll just say that. So everybody plays great roles. Rocket, well, what's his? I am
Groot.
Groot, but yeah, uh,
Baby Groot's awesome.
Baby Groot's awesome. So he sells a lot of toys, which is really all that matters.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
yeah, Bautista, Karen Palm, the whole group just is awesome. And I do love that they've got Sean Gunn in. I think I said that in the
Yeah.
podcast like a week or two ago. I liked Sean Gunn's character in that.
Yeah.
I think he's pretty great. And then of course Chris Pratt, he's awesome.
It
Another sexiest man alive. I could see getting. I
because
don't know if he's been. I don't know if he's been one or not, but doggone it, he
we need a list.
probably
Who's
could
won it.
be.
I just love holiday movies. I see you. I love Guardians of the Galaxy. It's like that's a trifecta for me.
Yeah.
Looking. You know what? Anytime I can add more movies to our holiday marathon, which we've already started a little bit.
Have you? Yeah, I haven't.
8-Bit Christmas made a a showing last weekend.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't even started mine yet, and it's gonna be a truncated year this year because I'm gonna get a late start because of vacation and stuff. So.
Well, and you have to watch it. Next on the rundown, we have some troubling reports coming out of the MCU that the TV show Echo, starring Alekwa Cox as the deaf heroine, first debuted in Hawkeye. This is not good. We don't like hearing that a show like this that you and I both had even a modicum of excitement. It probably still is going to go through, but the reports are not about any of the actors or talent or anything like that. All about production. So we don't really know what that means, but it's not good. It's already had rumors that it could get delayed, and then so on top of this, we have this. I don't know, Eric. This is a show. It's like, oh, I didn't ask for this, but I'm happy to watch it when it comes out. If it does get canceled, are you going to be disappointed?
N- I am a little bit. I really am because I did like this character. I did like her as an actress, and I did like this character, and I would like to see more uh, of her. So I
Yeah,
think of all the spin-off series stuff that I've seen that's maybe I wouldn't say fringy, but like characters, I'm like, I didn't watch Miss Marvel. I wasn't, like I did like Captain Marvel. I did like that movie. And She-Hulk, I haven't watched that either. I just didn't do anything for me. But this one, I actually was genuinely interested in because, first of all, she was
Badass.
like I could totally buy her as a
Oh yeah,
badass. Like, yeah, like
totally.
I totally bought into her being a badass. The fact that she's deaf made it even cooler to me. Like, I
Yeah.
just was like, oh, that's super cool. Um so yeah, I just I'll be a little disappointed if I don't see this series go. But there's no doubt. I don't think that anybody that's going to argue with me. And this phase 4
Or
stuff has been pretty bad. I wouldn't say pretty bad, but it just
let
hasn't
down.
lived up to the level that we expected everything to live up to. And it's been pretty disappointing up to this point. I wouldn't say everything, but for the most part,
Right.
everything has been pretty disappointing. So,
Yeah.
I have not gone to see Black Panther 2 yet, but I've not heard, um, I've not heard anybody tell me, like, with the first one, everybody was like, "Dude, you gotta go see that movie. It's awesome." Like, it was really, really great. Have not had anybody tell me yet that you gotta go see the second one. So, it's hard. It's hard to have a sophomore follow-up like that, especially after losing the
Chadwick.
main actor.
Yeah.
It's hard to carry that momentum, into the next one. But,
Still want to
yeah,
see it. I haven't seen it
yep,
either. I was sick last weekend when it aired, so
yeah,
couldn't get off my couch to see it, and then I was gonna see it on Monday, and then Joey got sick, so it was a lot of sickness going on right now. But
yeah,
it's on my docket. I have heard good things. I've
yeah.
heard really good things about it, which I'm so
That's
excited
what I've
about.
that is what I've heard as well, is that
Yeah.
Namor is really has really stolen the
Yep.
show on it. Now, I wanna be clear, I haven't heard anybody say anything bad about the movie. I just haven't had anybody come to me and go,
I know what you mean, though.
"You gotta go
Yeah.
see this,"
Right.
whereas, like, with the first one,
Yeah.
everybody was blowing it up. Like, everybody who saw it right away was like, "Holy smokes, dude, you gotta see this movie. It is awesome." And it was, it was
Yeah.
like
It's pretty dope.
from very beginning of the movie all the way to the end, it was like bam, bam, bam. I mean, I just loved every moment of it. Uh, so I don't know, not to get too far off a topic, but I will be disappointed if Echo doesn't go,
Yeah.
because so to me, shows like this particular one, and like, I'm not going to see this character most likely in on the big screen, with the other stuff. This to me seems like a cookie cutter Disney Plus. This is perfect for Disney Plus type stuff. It's probably not going to cost you a fortune to film this. It's probably going to bring in good stuff. You can still have that Daredevil, Kingpin, circle, Hawkeye, like the local, I wouldn't say local neighborhood stuff, but it is a bit of it's local neighborhood stuff. And to me, that feels like it fits perfect with Disney Plus.
Yeah.
So, um, so I'm a
What
little
I
surprised.
what I'll add on to that too. Like even if her show is a huge hit, what you don't need to have happen is her get sucked to the battle world in Secret Wars. Like
Right.
she doesn't need to be a part of that. She's
Right.
not an Avenger. She's she's not going to be in an Avenger capacity before those movies come out.
Right.
Let just great. You made a show in the MCU with a great character. You
Yep.
don't need to like throw her on everything.
Right.
And that goes for everybody. And to include next on the rundown, Spider-Man freshman year, the animated series is now rumored and pretty heavily rumored to be canceled. Which is mainly due to Disney's budget cuts coming up.
Yeah.
Um, but I think there's some actual like uh people are not upset about this because a lot of people were mad that it wasn't going to be Tom Holland voice because it was supposed to be taking place in the MCU.
Yeah.
But then they came out and said, "Oh, it's an alternate um, universe, and so it's we can have a different Spider-Man." It was going to feature Daredevil, and so was Echo. So the expansion of Daredevil, I think, just are like we have an 18 episode series coming up. That's enough. I don't know. There's this is very common about the rundown about canceling.
So here's
It's
here.
like the overall theme of the show today, which
Yeah.
doesn't sound good for our show, but our show's doing
Well, so my holistic view on this is, and I'm not an economist. I'm not gonna, and I'm not. This isn't financial advice. Don't take it as financial advice.
write it down,
I'm
people.
I'm not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. But the economy is making a turn for the recession, and the because of the amount of inflation, the Fed is raising rates, and so the era we've had this era basically since 2008 of like free money, where the base interest rate was zero and sometimes it was even negative. So there was this era of like free money and free credit, and people could, borrow money and do whatever they wanted at almost no cost to themselves. And that era is coming to a close. And so there's going to be a lot of changes, I think, in a lot of different organizations where you had a lot of experimentation um, and stuff to see like what was going to fly and what's not going to fly. And I think two things I think are changing things for the MCU. Uh, One of them is the economic situation. So I think they are going to probably cut back on risky projects and stick with the tried and true formula of, hey, we know this prints money, let's just stick with this stuff, and people like these characters, and we don't need a Spider-Man freshman year stuff. We've got the Spider-Man multiverse stuff. I think we'll keep that with the animation and maybe move on, and we'll stick with the Tom Holland live action stuff and go that route. The other thing, DC made some big moves, and I think that the MCU people are already starting to react to that and starting to kind of tighten down the bolts on everything and really start to get focused, because they're concerned that with James Gunn and
gonna have competition.
that they're going to start to have some competition, and they need to make sure that they're keeping their eyes on the prize. And we have talked about this is great. I
Yeah,
really, like I'm sorry if you were looking forward to freshman year, but I think for us, with how poorly Phase 4 has gone,
yep,
this is good for us as MCU fans,
yeah,
because we can look at this and say Feige and them are going to have to tighten everything up. They're going to have to make sure that all these stories are good, and that we're not just, telling stupid stories and stuff like that. That
yeah.
we're telling good stuff. So I think the news coming out of Warner Brothers and coming out of DC has already started to tighten the ship up a little bit on the MCU side, and I think that's
Batten
good
down the
for us.
hatches. Was that
Yeah,
another
batten down the
term?
hatches, or however you want to do it, but they have had free reign for a long time, and and DC has done well with some stuff, and then completely swing and miss with other stuff. And
Yeah,
the MCU really has had not a ton of competition, I would say. And so if just the threat that that DC could be turning the ship around, I think is already putting the MCU on notice that
they got
things are
the
going to.
guy.
Yep.
They got the
And I
guy.
think I did see on Twitter, we all know how much I love DJ, but he was so I thought he's very kind and very gracious to uh to the folks over at Marvel when Black Panther debuted and stuff. After they came out that they had won the weekend and all that, and he had tweeted out that, congratulations to the whole MCU team and all that for, and basically just like, hey, when when you guys win, we all, all of us
Yeah.
people who want to make these movies and do all that stuff, we all win. I continue to love that sexiest man alive, if that's where we're gonna go. So
That's yours.
yeah,
Well, I'm sure Feister is just, they hire James Gunn. I'm sure he's like, okay, okay,
yeah, yeah,
okay, 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 okay. We
yep,
we got some competition now. Okay.
yep,
So he's probably just taking a look at things and being like, yeah, that's not going to make it. That's not going to cut it. And you know what? Maybe they had some self reflection about Phase 4, and they're like, let's start having higher standard around.
yep.
When you said we were talking about the recession, you said making a turn for us. I was thinking Bill Paxton. It's already here.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, it is. It is. You're
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
But I think you can already see that there's going to be they're already talking
Yeah.
about layoffs. They're talking about
A lot of big time companies,
yeah.
Amazon, Twitter, obviously.
Twitter
Just
situation is a little bit different, I think, than everybody else.
very,
But
very
yeah,
different.
there's lots of companies that are in hiring freezes or outright
Yeah.
laying off people and stuff. And so it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough for a lot of people. Going to be tough for people to get through, and we're just going to make sure we're all there for each other and stuff. So
One thing that I know makes Kevin Feige still very, very confident is he still has one of the biggest stars in the world in Tom Holland, who is now close to signing a massive, massive deal for his future MCU Spidey franchise. Definitely sounds like there's going to be a trilogy coming up, and Tom Holland rightfully deserves a lot of credit for his Spider-Man being a big time star in the world. He what this trilogy would bring, the 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 uh the scenarios endless scenarios. Letterman there, just trying to get my words right, but he is set up for a big time trilogy, and Feige said that he's coming back down to the neighborhood hero style, the street level hero, um, for the next one, but that doesn't mean they won't go 5, 6. And it sounds like there's some patience that we're going to need to have when it comes to seeing Tom Holland in the black Spidey suit, so the symbiote suit. So that one is, this whole deal is for a trilogy, so they have something in for it. They may be saving that one for 5 or numbers. Anyway, Tom
is
Holland, new Spidey, or continuing to be.
is Tom Holland the face of the MCU right now?
Gosh, I would say yes.
Yeah.
That is a really great question. I would say yes.
Answer in the comments. For
Yeah,
those of you who are listening to the show, answer in the
that's
comments.
a
Is
really, really good
Tom
question.
Holland the face of the MCU right now? Because I think he is. I
Yeah.
think despite their efforts to promote, Doctor Strange or
Or
other Thor to the top of the list. I mean, even though he, from a maturity perspective, is still pretty young, extremely young, he's, to me, he's the face of the MCU. Like I think he's the moneymaker out of this whole deal right now is Spider-Man, Tom Holland.
totally. After No Way Home, how can he not be? He's
Yeah.
the last guy to get $1 billion movie. since Endgame. Downey's gone. Evans, sexiest man alive, gone. Thor just crash and burn. I think Thor had a chance. He crash and burn. Doctor
It was
Strange
just
had a
too silly.
chance. He
It's just
crash
too
and
silly.
burn.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, we really haven't seen. We got the show. We got the show of Captain America or Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
So we really
much
haven't
maligned
seen.
show now. Hasn't aged well with the audience.
Right.
I still think it was great.
With with that, we haven't really seen the new Captain yet. So we'll see how that goes. And now with Black Panther,
they're putting Harrison Ford in his movie.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like the only other person that I think you could maybe make a
case for.
You can't even make a case for. I was thinking you could maybe make a case for Hulk or even Ant-Man.
Ruffalo?
Yeah, but
you know what? I actually wouldn't be surprised if you could make a case for Paul Rudd after Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Yeah.
But I think who has a really good shot at this, and he almost already is, considering he has content out there, is Daredevil. Charlie Cox.
Yeah.
They are trying to make him one of the.
But what's interesting is both of those. Here's my trouble. Here's my struggle with that. Both Spider-Man and Daredevil are neighborhood guys. They're not, the planet defending Avenger dudes that everybody.
I mean, Spidey can play in any world. He can play in the big cosmic world. He's punched a Celestial in the face before. So he's pretty badass. But I get what you're saying. Like, especially now you've already said you're shifting him to the street, right? So, it is going to be really, really interesting to see how Phase 5 builds out the MCU and heads towards Phase 6 with the Avengers movies. And the inclusion of Fantastic Four and X-Men down the road. I mean, I'm like, I get chills thinking about it because I'm so excited about it. But right now, it's a downtime for the MCU, and they have people worried about rightfully so.
I mean, I feel like maybe to me, this is Anthony Mackie's to lose. Like that's
a really good point.
That's really, to me, is it Anthony Mackie is going to make or break the whole thing? Like if his Captain America, if people,
that's a really good point.
I'm sold on him as Captain America, but it's whether or not he can carry it and whether people can believe that he is the leader of the whole thing as Captain America. I think that's really going to be what it comes down to.
Yeah, will they see him as Captain America, or will they see him as the guy in Captain America's suit?
Correct. Yes, and that's a concern I have for that. The other person that I think, and golly day, like this actually is painful to say, not because I don't like the guy who plays him, but is Loki also like one of the premier?
Yeah, for sure. I thought about Loki for a second. I was like, well, I wouldn't maybe he'd be a top
he's not supposed
character. To be. Like he's a top character for the MCU.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's a face of the MCU. I love his face. Tom Hiddleston's amazing in every way. And you can even throw Chris Pratt in this. I mean, Chris Pratt is got a case for being the face of the MCU.
For right now, for at least a couple more movies, for a holiday special and one more movie.
So. 6 more months.
Yeah. Unless they change something, unless they start to read the tea leaves and figure out something, where they have to figure it out, and they may look at that depending on what the results are for like Quantumania and Guardians of the Galaxy. Well, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to end Guardians of the Galaxy. So
I
if they
doubt
end
they
up doing a
kill. I don't
sacrifice,
think they'll kill Star-Lord.
yeah. Well, I mean, if he sacrifices himself, some sort of sacrifice situation like Iron
Yeah,
Man,
maybe.
we'll
Yeah,
see.
maybe he has to give himself up to bring Gamora back or something.
Yeah.
Exciting news. We love Tom Holland in this house.
Yep.
Like to put him in my pocket and run away. So, Alex, Keanu Reeves for
Keanu Reeves.
300, please. Whoa,
Whoa.
whoa. In in the past week or so,
My favorite, the David Duchovny of the other Jeopardies is Jeff Goldblum's David Duchovny's thing of Jeff Goldblum. It's
that is pretty good.
let's
Yeah.
see, we're looking at let's see, it's John Wick 1, 2, 3, and now we're at 4. Is John Wick 4?
That was pretty good.
Thanks.
I gotta go watch some Celebrity Jeopardy.
Celebrity Jeopardy, man. It's best.
It seriously is, and it's good all the way, like every single time.
If you could watch, I would watch Daryl Hammond like all day long. Like that guy,
Yeah,
I got to
he's
see
good in
him.
everything he did.
Got to see him live at Comedy Works one time, and the dude was just brilliant. This was absolutely brilliant. And I remember we were sitting like second or third row, and he's up there and he's got like a sport coat on and like a nice shirt up underneath of it and everything. And it wasn't until like halfway through the set do I realize that he's wearing sweatpants. So he's got sweatpants and a sport coat on. And I was like, dude, that is the most comedian thing ever. Like that's the funniest stuff.
That is he impressionist comedy. One of my favorite.
Yeah.
He is master impressionist.
Sure. Yep.
Anyway, Keanu Reeves
for
300. John Wick 4 trailer came out in the past week, and
yeah, baby.
I haven't been excited for this movie only because I wasn't a big fan of 3, but we've covered on the rundown for the last year or so the amazing cast that this movie has put together.
Yeah.
And then this trailer comes out, and I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
I'm pumped for this. I cannot wait. And so this whole category is Keanu Reeves. So I'm going to ask that we cover all 3 of them because they kind of all tie into each other.
Sure.
Right? So John Wick 4 trailer released.
Yep.
What are your thoughts? We had the Constantine director Francis Lawrence come out and give us an idea of what he wants the sequel to Constantine that was just announced 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Starring Keanu. And then the ballerina movie that we talked about last week definitely officially started shooting, but then Keanu Reeves and Ian McShane will reprise their roles from the franchise in that movie. Holy crap, we got some Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. Caught my first tube today, sir.
Right on.
The ballerina, you're a
I gotta
real
watch
frame
States,
special, aren't you? The ballerina stuff, I know we had kind of speculated that they may not be in it, but having Keanu and Ian McShane in there, I think is a great. It'll be good to tie her into the John Wick.
Her as in Ana de Armas.
Ana de Armas, yeah. It'll be good to feature them to really solidify and make sure that she's attached to that universe, if you will.
Yeah.
So I don't have a problem with that. I think it's good.
Cool. I just hope it's not like a shoe-in. Like I hope it has.
Yeah, but I don't. I'd be curious to see how much involvement they actually have in it.
I can see Ian McShane having a much bigger part, and
yeah. The Constantine stuff. I didn't see the first one, so I don't know.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I don't. I don't really have any. Uh, I don't really have an opinion on that one. What do you think about that?
Well, he says he wants it to be a really hard R. It's going back to scary. I I watched the first one. I was in the and I was like, this is cool, but I was never like throwing it on in the background when I'm doing dishes or anything. So when they announced, a few weeks ago that they're bringing Keanu and the director back. I'm like, cool. Hmm,
Yeah,
why? Is he gonna have the beard and long hair?
right. I was trying to
So
look at the first one. The first one was an R-rated movie, so I guess so.
yeah, no, it
Um,
was like before they really changed what our movies. I mean, it had some scary stuff in it,
yeah,
and it cussed a lot, and I really think
yeah,
that is mainly where the rating came from.
yeah.
Um, but it was that like mid 2000s kind of feel of a movie. Early
2005 is when.
Oh yeah, okay, mid 2000s, and
Yeah,
um, again, it has its audience. It's a very niche audience. Well, this is a franchise I wasn't asking for, and I really don't care about it yet. So, um,
I'm curious.
not I don't have a lot to say on it.
Yeah, I'm curious as
That's all I
to
have to say about that. That was a
the,
that sounded
the,
more like a Sylvester Stallone.
to go back to the DC stuff with James Gunn and Peter Safran. Um, I know that I had read that they had a big meeting this past week or week and a half where they basically pulled in all the best writers and best minds that they have on the DC side of the house there on the Warner Brothers side and put together a 10-year Bible is basically with a DCU Bible. Um,
I'd
and
like to know who's part of that group.
yeah, I would too. So I'm interested to see because this story's a little bit older. So I'm curious to see if this Constantine survives that stuff, or if it's just listed as James Gunn, and then we're just going to say, "Hey, go make your movie. It's a standalone movie. We don't want it part of the rest
Yeah,
of the DC,
that that could happen.
DCU stuff," which is fine. And
Yeah,
I think we've seen where DC has a actually when they do standalone stuff, a lot of the time it's been pretty good, or it's been decent enough when they try and make this bigger universe stuff that they usually step on a rake or whatever and all that. So
yeah,
um so yeah, so we'll see if this survives contact with the new bosses there.
yeah.
But
Mr. James Gunn,
yep.
boss of DC Studios, is really really exciting to hear it and say that. Um, Alex, can I get Femme Fatales canceled for 500, please?
Ah, God, who would have thought this would have not flown? I mean,
Uh, two big time stories in the past week of all female led movies being canceled. First one up was the Megan Fox all female led Expendables spinoff movie. I jumbled a lot of words in there.
yeah, yeah.
And then Margot Robbie's female Pirates of the Caribbean canceled. So no all female pirates movie, Brett King, for you.
You'll
Um,
have to settle for the softcore.
it was not softcore.
Yeah, whatever.
That was
I never saw it, but I just remember seeing the poster of it with all the
an Iraq special.
was it? I bet.
Um,
I bet.
anyway, I was actually interested in Margot Robbie, Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
Mm.
I was
See, I'm the exact
just because
opposite.
more Margot Robbie for me.
Sure, that's
You know,
fair.
uh,
Yeah,
at
that's
minimum,
fair.
in a pirate. The Megan Fox, I was like, thank God that guy. That didn't. I don't know. What do you think?
Like I said, I was kind of in the opposite boat. I would have been so the expendable stuff has always been like I wouldn't say cringe, but it's just like fun, like it's just a fun thing that I
Those two do not fit together though. It's like
well, but like I
it feels
think
like it should be cringe, me,
but
but it's too fun to be cringe.
I looked at well, it's like on the edge. It's like you look at it and you go, but you watched it and none of those dudes took it too seriously. They had great
Yeah,
sense of humor about everything
yeah,
and and that's what made it kind of endearing was I was like this is just a collection of a bunch of high testosterone dudes doing high testosterone stuff and
when did
I
that first
can
one come out?
I can sit down and watch this and shut off my brain and it's fun. Like it was they were all fun movies to watch. Like I didn't feel cheated when I got done watching them. I felt like, yeah, this was the cool movie. Like I'll never watch it again, but but it was just fun. It was just fun to watch. And I think when I heard that they were making this, I was really hoping that they would do something similar with this
Female.
with a female cast because a lot of the times like I think that's the problem with female action movies is that they like overcompensate for the fact that they don't have a ton of testosterone, and they like
Yeah,
go way overboard on the testosterone. Whereas I was kind of hoping that they would keep it like like just on the edge of not just lighter. Like
yeah,
don't take it so seriously. Like, yeah, all your girls are badasses. Like I guess like if I were to go back and give you an example of a good female movie, it would be like the first Charlie's Angels movie
oh
because they
yeah,
they like they were total badasses,
yeah,
um but but there was an element of like humor to it and
fun,
it
yeah,
was fun. It was a fun
yeah,
movie to watch and
yeah.
I didn't walk away from it going that was ridiculous. Like, there's no way a 105-pound girl is going to beat a 250-pound dude. I
Hey, Cameron Diaz is not gonna punch
no,
me.
no, yeah, yeah. Like, well, she choked me
I
out,
would
but
let her.
yeah,
I
I would
mean,
let her, yeah, for sure. But, and so that's what I was kind of hoping for was like you could get like a Megan Fox one, and you could go get Cameron Diaz, and you could go get Lucy Liu, and you
yeah,
could put together this fun cast of like women that have played like action
yeah, like
roles
Sigourney
over the
Weaver,
years.
Linda
Yeah, Sigourney Weaver. Like
Hamilton,
you could put
Linda Hamilton.
yeah, and I just looked at this and I was like, man, this is like a cool opportunity for them to have like a fun time doing and it doesn't have to be like they're like punching people out. They could do like some sort of like oceans type deal,
Yeah,
where it's like a
Ocean's
heist
8.
of some sort or where I don't know. Like there was a lot that you could have gone with here that I think
Here,
they could have been successful with.
here's what you do. Okay,
Yeah.
here's the idea. You go back, you get Gina Davis. You get Gina Davis's Cutthroat Island character,
Oh
and
yeah,
you
yeah.
put her in the Expendables, and then you have a Venn diagram. You have Davis, who is great, no action star in the '90s.
Yeah, she was the long kiss
Um,
goodnight. Oh gosh.
love The Long Kiss. That is one of the most badass, most underrated badass movies.
Her and Samuel L.
Yeah. So, yeah, Margot, or excuse me, Gina Davis's Cutthroat Island pirate character in Expendables. You just cover all your bases.
Yeah.
So,
And don't be so serious about it.
right.
Just
Well, you got a pirate. You got,
yeah,
you know what
you got
though? Cutthroat Island was the first time I saw a stunt double in a movie that where it like actually took.
yeah.
Because there was one time Gina did a flip off of a step, grabbing a sword. I'm like, oh, that was a dude. But like,
What is the what is
with have you
the
seen Cutthroat Island with her and Matthew
Spaceballs
Modine?
scene where he's like, "You idiots! You've captured their stunt doubles." They turn around
Wait, no, was that
There was
was that
the dude
Spaceballs?
playing Vespa. He's like got a beard. He's got like
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. He's smoking, right?
yeah, he's got
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that's
Oh my
right.
gosh.
Oh man,
Spaceballs.
Spaceballs. Um, all right. So next category, Alex, is I'm going to take fantasy epics 800. We're going to start with Godzilla versus Kong. The Godzilla versus Kong sequel. Okay. The title has been revealed. It kind of tells us a lot about the movie.
Yeah.
So the title of the movie is Godzilla and Kong, which
See what they did
uh,
there? It's a totally different movie, people.
they
It's a
switch it
totally
up.
different movie.
I'm
In the
sure they
first one,
will.
they were against each other.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll butt heads at some point in this upcoming movie, but that tells you that they're gonna. We've gotten rumors that it could take place all in Hollow Earth. It could, sure, they'll be on Earth at some point because they have, the same. Like Dan Stevens is going to be the main lead in it. He has not been in the series yet. I think, yeah. I mean, I'm not. Dan Stevens gets a lot of love. I don't. Anyway,
I don't care.
we
I
knew
do
we
like
knew it was going to happen,
I
right?
do like Brian Tyree Henry. I
His character,
I love that dude. I think he's
yeah.
great. So, and then the other gal that's in it, Rebecca Hall. I think
Oh yeah, I was
she's a
like trying to
cutie.
remember who. Yeah,
She's a
she's
cutie
like
for
got
sure.
this classic beauty to her.
Yeah, she really does. So I think
Loved her in
I
The
think
Town.
she's super cute chick. And Brian Tyree Henry just totally makes me laugh. You know, he's a funny
He's
dude.
so funny, dude.
Yeah,
He was really good in that versus.
yeah, and the little gal, Kaylee, is it Hoddle, I think is her last name, but um, the little girl from the first one, she was just as cute as
Oh
she could possibly be.
yeah,
Her first name's Kaylee. I can't remember.
Haley Huddle. Yeah, you
Yeah,
got it. Yeah,
yeah.
Huddle.
So I don't mind those three coming back. I really don't. I mean, the humans are just the kind of the thing when you're taking a
I
break from
know.
watching monsters fight. So
Like
because they can't.
I can take it. I can take monsters fighting for 2 hours. Okay.
Yeah, I think the CGI budget would be absolutely insane, though.
I don't care.
So
Just mocap
just
that
make it
stuff.
happen, people.
Make it
Just make it
happen.
happen.
Just give it to me.
Yeah, but anyhow, I am.
Who are they teaming up against, Eric?
I don't know. Like
Yeah,
that's the mystery at this point. So
I
I
don't
don't know who's
know.
left because we've gotten everybody
I
for the
know.
most part. They're gonna have to dig deep into the
Well,
Godzilla lore.
currently there's a ton of. They haven't even gotten to like the top 10. Oh,
Well, in the first Godzilla, in the Godzilla King of the Monsters movie,
yeah,
there were a lot of the really classic
yeah,
villains. You know, you had Rodan, you had
yeah.
uh, uh,
Dear Dan, no.
you had Rodan, and you had what was the other big one? Ghidorah.
Ghidorah, that
Ghidorah.
the
Yeah,
three-headed that's what I was thinking. I was actually almost pretty close with Geardan,
yeah,
Rodan and Geardan,
yeah,
Ghidorah,
yeah.
the three-headed
Ghidorah,
dragon.
and then you had a bunch of other ones that showed up, just kind of came out of nowhere. They pulled a
Yeah,
bunch of them out, but
yeah.
it,
Godzilla went through the ringer in that
but
movie.
there can be only one. So I don't know. Did I cross the streams on that one? That's three different movie references in the span of like,
We've made more movie references than I have
yeah.
made in a very long time. I hope it keeps going too.
Try and keep it up.
So very excited to see who they square off. There was even a rumor about maybe the son of Kong being a part of this movie as well. So hopefully they don't stuff this movie with too much plot, because it's just as like kaiju fight. That's what we need.
Yeah.
Next on the rundown. Oh, we've got some excited people out there after this news came out. Harry Potter TV series, Harry Potter TV series as in plural, are being developed at HBO Max. I
Yeah,
have
again, we
no
got
thoughts on this.
huge news. Um, again, out of DC and Warner Brothers, they have killed off um the series. They've
The
killed off
Fantastic
anything.
Beasts.
The Fantastic Beast series,
Yep.
that's completely gone. And so they're gonna do probably a Harry Potter and the Cursed Child 2-part movie could happen. What I've heard. And then
With
now we're
Daniel
looking.
Radcliffe?
Mm,
That spinoff book?
we'll see.
Is
Yeah,
that
I
a Fire
haven't.
and Blood type situation?
No, I don't know. We'll kind of see how that goes. But
You're like,
the
not even close.
the we'll see. They haven't said anything about what the TV series might be about. So they haven't. There's a lot of stuff that you could go into with the TV series that I think you
Yeah.
could you could do like a Aurors thing. You could do prequel stuff to Hogwarts. You could do other schools. Like we've always done Hogwarts, but plenty
Oh,
of
are
other
there more? Is more?
schools.
There's more than Hogwarts?
There's several other wizarding schools that are out there.
Really?
Yeah,
Who's the best?
if you'd watched any of the movies ever, Darren, you would know
I
that.
watched the
But
first two.
no, we haven't gone there.
Oh,
Dude, you need to watch. You need to get to 3 because
I
3
know.
will actually, I think, hook you into the series. Alfonso Cuarón's The Prisoner of Azkaban is the most of all the movies in the series, of the 8 movies in the series. It's the most beautiful.
Yeah.
It is just gorgeous, and it flies by. The storytelling just flows so well. The kids are at that preteen age.
Hmm.
So they're no longer like the younger kids where you feel like, I don't know if I could really buy them in that. They're at the age where it's like, okay, they're starting to like almost teenagers, I guess, or you could see them like they're like 13, 14 years old, kind of be like, oh, okay.
I
So
will watch Harry. I will. I will
just
watch.
so you know, but I'm going to cut you off right there. Okay. So
I will
I am
watch
on an
Harry
airplane
Potter.
tomorrow. I am on an airplane tomorrow, and I have already downloaded Andor, the first 5 episodes of Andor. Okay.
Oh, can you
And I am
download the
going to
6th one? No.
watch, I am going to
Okay.
watch them. Well, I've got that downloaded. And then Uncle Frank has also asked me to watch The Peripheral. So I have a couple
Okay.
episodes of The Peripheral as well.
All right. Well, you want to watch too? I believe me. I fully intend on. You know what? So pisses me off that I think about it is I was sick all weekend last weekend and I watched barely anything. I could have been watching the Harry Potter movie. Harry Potter movie. It's my
At
chance.
least if I'll just give you my opinion on the best of that stuff. So, uh 3 is spectacular. 4 is okay. 5 is terrific. 6 is terrific. And 8 is terrific. Like they really are of the rest of the movies.
Did you skip 7?
Uh yeah, I did. Mhm.
Okay. That's something.
So, well,
Ne-
if you read the book, like if you read the book, the first the f- it, it's
Is
necessary.
that part 1?
Yes, it
Deathly
is.
Hallows part
It's
1?
the Deathly Hallows Part 1. And so I say that only to say the reason why I didn't really dig it is because it's a whole movie of world building, of like situation building, and it needs to be told, like, in order to understand what's happening in 8, and in order for 8 to mean anything, really have to go through 7. It just is. It's just hard. It's a harder movie to
Huh.
watch. So
I think I kind of would like that 'cause I like world building.
yeah, well, every single Harry Potter, uh, like, you'll find out later on that stuff that happened in the first movie and the second movie, and in fact, stuff that happens in each one of those movies, and people that you meet are all like critically important to the story all the way up until the very end. So the world that J.K. built is terrifically deep.
Detailed.
Yes, it's very, very detailed, and you'll be like, holy smokes! Like when you, and even the movies don't necessarily do it as much of don't do it as justice that the books really do. You know, she did a phenomenal job in the
Yeah.
books of tying things together. But man, there's stuff that you'll be like, you'll be like, holy smokes! Like I had no idea that would be important to to the story much later on, and in some places it's absolutely critical to the story. So
Yeah.
but
Well,
yeah, anyhow, watch the third one. I'll
my
get to
most
that.
recent nerdum is lore. Digging into the lore of things, which has been Lord of the Rings lately.
Yeah,
And it blows me away. Somebody can create this other like world, this other
right.
universe with so many details that just says, how do they think of this stuff?
Yeah,
I mean, J.R.R. Tolkien, where guy was saying he was a genius is
yeah,
understated. So, anyway, next on the rundown, we've got the Chronicles of Narnia.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
Chronicles of Narnia Netflix movies.
yeah.
Apparently, they're making new ones, which I did not know that. So this is hey, Chronicles of Narnia, new Chronicles of Narnia movies are being made. And they're eyeing Greta Gerwig for the director, who she's getting a lot of praise for her newest movie, which hasn't come out yet, but great news coming out of it already. Barbie, starring Margot Robbie.
Two
I
beautiful
don't
people.
like, yeah,
Two
two
of the
beautiful.
sexiest people alive.
We've seen like 2 pictures from this movie, and
Yeah,
everybody's like, "Oh, I'm hooked. I need to
yeah.
see more of this."
I'm
You know,
down.
like it.
Yeah,
How that's when you know you've created something spectacular already.
yeah.
So Chronicles of Narnia is happening. What do you think?
Well, I think I talk about, in the Bible. There's a verse that talks about iron sharpens iron, and J. C.S. Lewis was a was a C.S. Lewis was an atheist, like a hardcore atheist. Um, and he met J.R.R. Tolkien, and they were at school together when they were professors together, and they created this group. I think it was called the Inklings, and so it was the two of them plus several other professors there, and they used to um, uh, meet together and drink and play games and all that stuff together, and they were the best of friends. And so when you talk about um, the Lord of the Rings and the world that J.R.R. Tolkien built, um, you can somewhat thank C.S. Lewis, I think, and vice versa. You can thank Tolkien for encouraging Lewis to build the Chronicles of Narnia stuff, and so because the two of them really worked with each other, quite a bit, and I think refined stuff, and I don't know what the timeline is. Tolkien may have already written a lot of the Lord of the Rings stuff, or even had written the book already before he met Lewis. But man, I'll tell you, those dudes had a great relationship with each other, and so love I love the Chronicles, and I loved the books as a kid, and so I'm looking forward to seeing more of this classic. Again, I'm not much of a fantasy person. Like I've never really been into fantasy stuff, but I always did like The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe and all
Oh,
that. I just always thought that was really cool. I think a lot of kids do. As
oh
far
yeah,
as the Greta Gerwig news, from a visionary perspective, at least the world that she created in the Barbie one, I'm like, holy smokes, man, that looks
right,
freaking amazing. So
yeah,
I, I can't imagine that she would be, disappointed. And this is going to be a Netflix stuff. Is
yeah,
that what we're looking at?
yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure that'll take off just fine. I think it'll be. fine. I'm looking forward to it. I like, I don't know what everything else is going to be like, but and that would be kind of a cool TV series as well. I think
I was
they're
just thinking,
doing,
why would they be doing movies when they could be doing it?
yeah, yeah. You could do, gosh, man, you could do those books in like 10 episode seasons, and you could do the Lion, the Witch, and the Word. You could do Prince Caspian. You could do the Dawn Treader, and man, I mean, you've got 3 seasons of a show right there that people would. I guarantee you, people lined up,
Oh
you
yeah,
know, ready to binge those things as soon as they dropped. That'd be pretty. That'd be pretty
especially if
cool.
they do it well.
Yeah,
Like I mean, then you can expand that world too. That there's a world that Netflix
yeah,
they want to.
and that's the thing is like Netflix always does TV better
Yeah,
than they do movies. You
that's what I
know,
was just thinking. Like, why are they not doing T series? They're so much better at that.
yeah,
Weird.
yeah,
Anyway, looking
yeah,
forward to Barbie for sure.
yeah, for sure.
Like it's so weird to say that, but those pictures are just they're chefs. Um, next on the
Gosling looks
rundown,
amazing.
that picture is it's I don't like to use it's pretty freaking epic
It is, yeah. I
that
feel like there's a meme like that'll be used as a meme at some point. You know,
has to be.
yeah,
Yeah. Next or yeah, next on the rundown. Um, weird story coming out of the Star Wars world. So, a guy by the name of JD Dillard, he directed the newest movie coming out, Devotion, which we covered that a while back. It's got Kang, the Conqueror, Jonathan Majors,
majors. Yeah,
and Glenn Powell from Top Gun Maverick. And it's a story
great.
from World War is it
Korea,
World War Korea. That's right.
Korea,
Okay. So it's a Korean era Korean War era pilot
M-
movie.
Medal of Honor. Yep, about
Um,
Medal of Honor recipient.
and he was in talks and works and almost I had a done deal for Star Wars movies, the Rocketeer sequel, and even possibly Superman stuff. So he had a pretty busy slate, and that's all been cleared. And that is, I don't know, but I feel like he's about to sign it, with the MCU or something. Who knows? But weird news. I had forgot that the Return of the Rocketeer was coming out. And I did not
Yeah,
know he was the director attached. They don't have much on that, but this isn't good for the development of that project. Also interesting, more Star Wars movies being on the put on the chopping block. What do you think, Eric?
well, first off, I am I am really looking forward to seeing Devotion.
Yeah,
I think anytime we get to tell stories out of Korea, Korea really is
Forgotten
the
War.
forgotten war. You
Yeah,
know, we talked about Vietnam earlier. We talked about World War II. Everybody, you know,
talk
World
about
War II
Afghanistan.
was the good war. We talked about Afghanistan. Um, so we don't get a ton of stories out of Korea,
Right.
but we lost a lot of really good people during that war, and not a lot of people have a lot of stories that they're told out of that. So this is an opportunity to see a story, you know, and even with a lot of the racial tensions that we've had over the last few years, I think this is a great story of, you know, how the military really is leading the fight of integration, you know, early on in our history, even before we had like the civil rights era. You know, this is a story of a black fighter pilot, white fighter pilot. So when they're up there fighting each other, the guy in the other plane has no idea what color the skin of the guy is
Right.
that's fighting against him, you know. And so,
To
and
see
this
it's
is a
American.
wonderful story. Yeah, this really is a wonderful story about to the bond. We've talked about it before. Obviously, I've never served, and but you've talked about it. The bond that military folks have for one another, and especially in combat. So I'm really looking forward to this story. I really want to see it.
Yeah.
And the fact that uh, Jonathan Majors really just kind of hitting his stride right now. The guy is just really, really hitting his stride. A really
He might
tremendous
be
talent.
he might soon be the face of the MC.
When your villain is, that's I don't know how
I
good
mean,
that is, but
he's going to be the face of the MCU for the next few years, at least, with
yeah,
him being
yeah,
the main overall villain.
yeah. And then Glenn Powell, who's the
More Glenn Powell,
sneaky,
please.
sneaky DC character. I don't know if you remember him from. He had a very, very minor role in Dark Knight Rises. So,
Yeah, he played a really good asshole in that movie.
yeah, he was just the very brief jerk in that
Yeah,
one. But yeah, so we'll see. We'll see the JD Dillard stuff. So I'm a little disappointed because I was kind of hoping for the return of the Rocketeer. I hope that
yeah,
kind of um I'm hoping that doesn't get lost and that project doesn't get killed off because of that, because I just think it's like we've watched that movies that made us stuff over and over again, and I think the theme that runs through that entire series, just what a pain in the ass it is to get stuff made in Hollywood, and like you look at stuff and you're like, man,
yeah.
how
Even
would
by powerful people.
can you not make this? Like, how can you guys not get your shit together and make this movie? Like, there's a ton of like the Rocketeer is way more popular now than it was. Like it is it the special effects haven't aged, but people like adore that movie, and
Yeah,
I think you could totally make that for especially for Disney Plus if you want to make it Disney Plus, or maybe make it like make it a real movie.
yeah,
It would be cool. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with the dude. Um, I hope it doesn't affect Rocketeer. I hope good stuff for him if he's going to find they're clearing his schedule because they got something big coming up. That'd be great. Um, I know the MCU is sucking up a lot of good talent. Probably going to be for a while. So they got a lot of irons in the fire, a lot of projects coming.
yeah. Seriously, it's crazy. And now it sounds like maybe Ryan Coogler actually isn't directing Secret War, so that job's still open.
Yeah,
So news like this makes me like kind of go, it's, the thread there. So we'll see. Um,
yeah,
we're gonna end the rundown with some sad news. Well, Trailer Train will end the rundown, but for news, uh, wise, we'll end with some sad news. But Kevin Conroy has passed away at the age of 66. A lot of you probably like, "Well, who's that?" Well, Kevin Conroy is the voice of Batman. He's one of the voices of my youth. And anytime I read Batman or I see Batman, the voice that's in my head isn't Michael Keaton. It's not Val Kilmer. It's not Christian Bale. Definitely not Ben Affleck. It's Kevin Conroy's voice, and mainly because that's from the animated series in the '90s,
yeah.
which
I
we
remember when
recently just
I
talked about.
remember when that series debuted, and one of the cool things about it was that they drew the comic on black paper,
Yeah,
and I remember they made a huge deal out of them doing that, and I was like, man, it, it was it was like nothing I'd ever seen, like from an animation perspective. Like I had never, and again, I'm not a huge animation fan, but yeah, it was, I don't know, it
yeah.
was cool.
It
It
was
was really cool.
really cool. I gave it like a charcoal palette throughout the show, which that's we always say Gotham is a character in the Batman stories, and so it gave it a charcoaly feel to Gotham. It was great. But Kevin Conroy, he voiced Batman in almost every single animated version of Batman. And then he actually got to play a live action Bruce Wayne most recently in the CW storyline, um, um, slide, whatever their that big Arrowverse reverse kind of thing they had recently, where they got to bring back a bunch of DC nostalgia, and he played a Bruce Wayne that was like paralyzed, and he had to be in a machine bodysuit, kind of crazy. He was kind of like the mentor for Ruby Rose's Batwoman during that storyline. He finally got to play a live action version of Bruce Wayne, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Sad news though.
Yeah.
One of the voices of our youths.
Well, and Mark Hamill played the voice of the Joker.
Yeah.
And so he gave a nice
Oh yeah.
he said some, he said on Twitter, I think he said that he loved him like a brother, and he
Yeah.
was sad to hear about the loss and stuff. So yeah, pretty I
Yeah.
think the two of them worked together quite a bit.
That's such a great point. Like they were, I mean, that'd be like trying to think of another like good guy, bad guy combo that would have done as much work together as they did.
Yeah.
I can't think of it. Anyway, well, probably Christopher Reeve and Gene Hackman.
Yeah.
Like 3 or 4 together.
Yep.
Anyway, sad news. Off in a better place, and we'll move on with the trailer train. We only have a couple trailers here before we wrap things up. First trailer is it comes from Pixar, and we mentioned this movie. I think it was either Comic-Con or Disney Plus Day, maybe even sometime last year. But Pixar's new movie Elemental released its trailer. Eric, what did you think of the first trailer for this Pixar movie?
For those listening on the radio, I'm shaking my head left and right.
Not impressed, right?
I was not that impressed. I
No.
felt like, correct me if I'm
Like-
wrong, but like the characters looked exactly like the characters from
Inside Out.
Inside Out, and what was the one with Jamie Foxx? The
Oh yeah.
uh,
Yeah, he was like a
ghost.
Oh yeah, he was a
Yeah,
ghost.
he was a ghost of some sort. And anyhow, I
Yeah.
I was like, are we just recycling the? I felt
Yeah.
like we're just kind of recycling the artwork there, and we've got these models. Let's go ahead and use these, and stuff. So I don't know. I didn't. The trailer didn't do anything for me. I don't have any, and I usually am a Pixar fan.
Yeah,
So
big time Pixar
yeah.
fan. I mean,
So
so what to explain a little bit of what we saw in the trailer was it's Element City where it takes place, and it's elements of the world
right.
living.
So like earth,
the
wind,
cloud, wind,
fire, water.
earth, wind, and fire.
Yeah.
So if they're all elements in that world, it, like why have a world of elements? It's just
Yeah.
that was my question throughout the whole entire trailer. Well, why is this cloud here and not a regular world? Where it just was weird. Like, what's
Yeah.
their purpose?
Yeah.
Don't just have a weird thing just to have a weird thing. To have a cute little character because you can't come up with anything else. Like, have a purpose for why there's this world of elements walking around and
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, I don't know.
it was weird.
We'll see what the next trailers look like. Here's the deal. No matter what happens with this,
Yeah.
I'll be going to see it because my 2 kids are going to be like, "Oh,
That's a good point.
I can't wait to go see it." And I'm like,
That's a really
I
good
hate
point.
you, Pixar. So,
That's a good point. We will be seeing this. Joey's on a frozen kick. Let's get her off of that.
yeah, she
Onto a
needs
new
to just
kick.
she needs to just let it go.
Next on the trailer train, we got.
Are we gonna go into the unknown?
All right, this trailer just
really got to you.
It really like no, Magic Mike's Last
Darren's having
Dance.
a Darren's having an
A
attack.
moment.
He's having a
I
indigestion attack. So.
mean, did this trailer not just give you indigestion as well? I mean,
You
what
know
the?
what? Okay, I haven't seen the first Magic Mike or the second Magic Mike. I have no intentions of seeing the third one. However, I watched this and I thought to myself, are we just shoehorning the fact that it's a Magic Mike movie into just like
Yeah,
a cool dancing movie with Salma
right,
Hayek and Channing Tatum? Like I don't know what this has to do with other than maybe we're just redoing the character, but
right. Like we haven't seen these first two movies, but I can't like. I'm right there with you. Like I
yeah,
can't.
I thought you could have just made this movie and called him Mike, and
Or
like,
Dave, or
right, yeah,
Dave
I
and Rosita,
right. And I actually like I'm not. I'll probably end up taking Stace to see it. I'm sure it's a Valentine's Day movie again. Uh,
Oh,
because
yeah.
I love Salma Hayek and I actually like Channing Tatum.
I do too.
I don't have anything against either one of these characters. I did find the very last scene of the trailer humorous. I did laugh at it where he's a bartender. The scene opens with him as the
Oh yeah,
bartender
yeah.
at this party,
Yes.
and one of the girls goes, "I know you
Cop
were.
or
Didn't you
something?
used to be a cop or something?" He's like, "I." And then they flash to a scene
Flash
of her like,
like a
just
bachelorette
yeah,
party.
bachelorette party, and he's like, "Yeah, didn't I let you off with a warning or
Yeah,
something like
yeah.
that?"
Yeah, that's it. Like,
I did think that was pretty clever.
that
So,
was pretty funny.
but I like looking at this, I'm thinking, I guess maybe we're just gonna play off of the Magic Mike, the
I've
value of that, but
I've heard the first one's a good movie.
yeah, well, it's got like Matthew
You're
McConaughey and Channing
like,
Tatum, and
did women tell you that? I've heard from even like guys that
yeah,
have been.
I never saw it. I don't think I
I
didn't have a
I
girlfriend
never
at
heard
the
a good
time.
thing.
Yeah, I didn't have a girlfriend at the time to see that movie with, so I was like,
And I never heard any good thing. Second one. So to see a third, maybe the Channing's like, you know what? I I gotta give a good send off to my.
yeah.
I don't know, but
Well, and
yeah,
I don't think there was a ton of scripts going across Channing's. Haven't been a ton of scripts going across Channing's
I
desk
I
lately.
was gonna say though, we recently watched the Lost City, Banana Night. Did you
Yeah,
watch it? It's
yeah, we loved
it's
it.
so freaking good.
Stacy
I
and I
was
absolutely loved it.
I was
Absolutely
laughing
loved it.
so hard
Yeah,
in that,
yeah.
so much too.
Daniel Radcliffe was great.
Oh my god, he
Sandra
was great.
Bullock was so great, and the chemistry between Channing Tatum and her was just terrific. And he
So good. He
plays,
just can like turn the charm on
yeah,
in an instant,
yeah,
and he just oozes,
yeah.
you know.
He's really, really fantastic, and
And he
he's
plays
another.
Dopey so good.
He does
I mean,
the
he might be the
the
best Dopey.
21 Jump Street movies. Like he was so good in both those. I thought he was so hilarious as like kind of
So good in those.
the dumb guy. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm gonna beat you off. It's like, wait a minute, what?
Science bitches.
Like I just I thought he was great. And
He's really reinvented himself to be a, that kind of funny dopey guy from. He took a lot of slack early in his career, and maybe it was unwarranted. Maybe we should have given him a better chance because
yeah,
he did those dancing movies, and then he got into action, and he was like supposed to be the next big action star, but he just at that time he didn't his charisma doesn't come through in like a straightforward kind of guy like the GI Joe.
yeah,
His Duke in GI Joe is like a wooden character, and then ended up killing him in the first 5 minutes of the second one.
yeah,
Spoiler alert.
yeah.
So but he's totally reinvented himself and has found a way to like ooze his charisma,
Right.
and
And I
he's
think
so good. He's
I
so
think
good.
they rushed him, and this has been the problem with like Courtney Jai, and it's
Oh
been the
yeah,
problem with Sam Worthington. Is
Worthington.
is is they shoved him down your throat without them actually having like a successful movie where everybody was like, dude, I love this guy. Like, I want
Right.
to see more of this guy. And it was just like, hey, you're going to get all this guy because he's the it dude in Hollywood.
Yeah, he was
Well,
just in this $2 billion movie.
right.
You
You
know,
guys,
he there was talks for him to be Captain America.
yeah,
He's Australian. He's just says like, you
right.
guys almost
You just cast this guy
made me
and
cuss.
you've made him the it guy, not the audience. The audience
Right.
hasn't made him an it guy. You did.
Right.
And I think for Channing, at least, uh, it was too early in the game for him to do that. And so for him to have stuck around and kind of built this, like, I think for guys, it was like, hey, wait a minute, why are you shoving this pretty boy down my throat? As you know,
Yeah.
like, yeah, he's a big dude, but you're like kind of shoving him down. And he's at that point, I don't think he was that great of an actor,
Right.
but gotten better. You could see he's really started to refine his craft, and he's really started to get into a rhythm. And so I think, if
Now he can
anything,
do serious.
yeah, and I think if now more than ever, I would buy him in a serious, like, action type role. Like, he could play this kind of dopey guy, but I would buy him in a serious action type, like a Jason Bourne type badass dude. You know,
Totally. It was
I
a little in betweener was that White House movie. He
yeah, mhm,
he played a good action hero in that
yeah,
one. He was
yeah,
he was a sensitive guy in that.
yeah. Okay,
He had his daughter. So he's shown
to
he can
kind
do
of
it.
rewind back to earlier in it. Now that we're having this conversation, if you wanted to do a Rambo, could you see Channing Tatum as a John Rambo?
No,
Okay,
because I've just seen him dopey.
sure.
That's what
Yeah,
but I get what you're saying. I just feel like if he's gonna do action, he needs sides.
yeah,
And it doesn't
that's
have to
fair.
be dopey. Like he's not dopey in that White House. Where's that
No,
close? Um. Oh, that's gonna drip. Anyway, he plays kind of a self-deprecating.
yeah, yeah, and I could see him in those types of situations where you could get him into an action type role that's got a little bit of, wouldn't say maybe it's a die-hardish type, but
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
you could probably put him into like a
He's like a
die-hardish,
more of a
where
Bruce Willis kind of guy than a
yeah, he
Sylvester
makes like
Stallone guy.
a one-liner comment or something, like,
He's already made Bruce Willis style movies with
yeah,
that White House movie.
yeah,
That's a really good point. He's like the next Bruce Willis. He's already going bald and all of it. So,
right.
gosh, Lost City. If you haven't watched Lost City, give it a shot. It
You
is a
should.
great movie. I mean,
Yes.
out of this world fun.
Yes.
God, Daniel Radcliffe is so fun.
He's really good. Really good. And
No, the cameo of the movie is the best part.
it really
Oh my god. That is one of the best cameos I've ever seen in any movie. He is so
Are you a
funny.
model? No, but
He was so good looking.
my dad was a weatherman.
I mean, I
Like,
just love him.
and the
How
last line of
effortless
the
everything
movie,
is for.
the last line of the movie, the
Oh
post credits.
man.
Stick around for the post credits. Love it.
All right, let's get to the nerd box
Let's get
because we
to
got
it.
a good one from Meg. Meg
Yep.
says, parents, because I don't know who else is, but
Right.
for the parents, what kid shows? What kid shows do your kids watch? Absolutely cannot stand, and what kid shows do they watch that you love? Her answer, she says, I hate, and she put hate in all caps in that statement. I hate watching Puppy Dog Pals and Paw Patrol, which are two I actually enjoy.
Yeah.
Not my answer, but when those are on, I'm happier than others. I can't figure out why I hate them, she says, but every time my kids ask to watch either, I'm like, oh, fine. And then she goes, and then I absolutely love Bluey and Gabby's Dollhouse. Truthfully, I turned on Bluey when the kids weren't even in the house. That show is seriously the best thing available. Wow. Um, Egg got Andor to catch. Um,
He's pushing it hard.
yeah. Listen, you'll understand. Um, my gosh, Eric, you and we have uh, two kids under the age of 10 right now, each. And there's a lot of content that gets run through this house that when it's on, I'm just like, ah.
Yeah.
Let's start with your answer
All right. So
on.
mine is not a TV series as so much as a genre of YouTube videos that my children
Okay.
watch, because my kids don't watch a lot of like TV. They watch a lot of YouTube stuff. And the genre that my children are into right now is twofold. Uh, One is um, where the YouTuber is playing Minecraft and yelling at the top of his lungs while he goes through some sort of stupid scenario that he's created and continues
Why
to
is he
scream.
yelling?
And I don't understand, like, why are you yelling, dude? Like, I mean, like, you don't have to talk like in a normal voice, but why do you need to yell? And the guy's voice is the most annoying voice there is. It just drives me absolutely batty.
Okay.
I can't stand it. But then, and that's what Jack watches. Although
Yeah.
Amelia will watch it, but Jack watches it. The other one is Amelia watches this YouTube family where they do like these stupid challenges and stuff against each other, and this woman that does the thing, they have like a year-old baby or something like that, and they do like different stuff with a year-old baby, and I'm like, why are you putting this little child in there? But the woman is the worst actor. She, it's just
Is it a
awful.
real family
It is,
or a real
it's a
show?
real woman.
Like a
Well, no,
reality?
it's a YouTube couple, and like the husband is a moron, and he's like, he's got like a punchable face, and she is so, like, her voice is so annoying, and her acting is just god awful, and I cannot stand her. And so those are the ones. That's what I hate. I hate when those are on. I'm like,
Okay.
you guys need to find something else. I'm
Yeah.
like, just find anything else, something on Netflix, something on Disney Plus. I'm like, or whatever. Just find something. But
Here's
Amelia
Rambo.
does.
Watch Rambo.
Yeah, right. Amelia does like to watch. She watches this show on Disney called The Middle.
Okay.
I think what it's called, and um, it's pretty funny. Um, I
Okay.
think that one's pretty good. It's got the girl's
What's like
name.
though? So this sounds very current. What about all time? Is there anything all time you're just like not ever again?
Mm,
Or is this YouTube stuff the top of the
yeah,
it's the
yeah.
top
Like,
shelf?
none of the stuff that my kids watched, like when they were small, like, did I ever go, oh God, please don't watch. I actually loved Puppy Dog Pals.
Yeah.
I
I
liked the show. I didn't have a problem with
I
it.
do too. Isn't
Jack
that
watched.
um Harlan Williams?
Yeah, it's Harlan Williams. Yep.
Yeah.
Who I think is a brilliant comedian.
Brilliant.
I I, I like the
Paw
kids.
Patrol's cool, I think.
My kids never really. Jack watched a little bit of Paw Patrol and stuff, but I never got into it.
I just
I
like how
never.
they're named for their like division that they're a part of, and it's
Yeah,
cool that there's like a firefighter, there's a
yeah,
air
yeah. Jack would
patrol.
watch it and stuff. I always thought it was cool. What's the other one that they used to watch? It's uh, the other one that they used to watch. Um, Oh, PJ Masks.
Oh
Kids
yeah,
watch the PJ Masks,
yeah.
and I always thought
I
that was
liked
cool.
yep, that was actually my
Shout
answer.
out to Jason Sparks and his family. They dressed up as PJ Masks, I think,
Yeah, that's right.
for Halloween
Halloween.
this year.
That's
So,
right.
but yeah,
That was one of my answers.
yeah, and I think Jack, stuff that I like that I do like is Amelia has watched this series on on Disney called The Descendants. A couple of movies too. They've like
Yep.
3 movies and stuff. They've
Yeah.
been pretty good. The
Penny's
zombies
into that right
movies,
now.
despite the zombies movies are actually pretty good. The first 2 I think were pretty good. The third one I was not a big fan of, but the first 2 good. The Descendants, all the Descendants movies, really really good. I've really enjoyed those. Um, I'm not much of a musical person, but I have enjoyed secretly enjoyed those. And then of course Jackson's into the Godzilla stuff
I
and
was gonna
Transformers.
say you
So
don't get to pick Transformers or Godzilla. You
I
know,
have to. I
cheating.
can't.
Cheating.
Yeah.
That's a. I can see like I can see you just hearing those
Yeah.
seconds. Oh my God.
Drives me nuts, man. Yeah.
Dude, yeah. Penny, she watches, a lot of that same stuff, but um, one show she watches that is just like, God, do we need to watch this? Does this need to be? Is a show on Amazon Prime called Just Add Magic.
Mm,
Ever heard of it?
mm-mm.
It is like the most 1990s CW show you've ever seen, with like where it's like little itty bitty small town, and these girls do magic through recipes, and it's just like I don't. Penny would just be locked in on it. She could
Yeah.
watch it 24 hours straight. It's not that she did, but that she could, and I'm like, can't even one episode of that. And then there's been a spinoff of it, and you can tell it's in the same world, and it's just more of this. But for stuff that they like to watch, they like to. I have 2 little kind of
It's a
up and
spinoff called
coming.
like it's a spinoff called like Just Add Antibiotics or
No, I don't remember what it's called actually. You could just tell it's in the. I paused it once.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not good. It's even worse. I'd rather her watch Just Add Magic than the spinoff one.
Right.
Anyway, seeing.
I
Uh,
think you're gonna
oh,
enjoy.
I've got 2 little kind of nerds on my hand. They really like to watch superhero stuff, so that's cool. They're really into uh the Amazing Spider-Man and his friends, the for kids show. Spider-Man. There's trouble with her S's right now, so she doesn't say them.
I'm just so
This is
grateful that she's
Spider-Man.
talking already.
Yeah,
It's been a little while. So
talking a lot.
that's great.
Yeah. So, but if there, PJ Masks was on my list. I really, really enjoyed PJ Masks. I'm like, I could have had this on when I was a kid. It's
But
really cool.
this is a question then for you. Because I have an answer pretty quick. Have your kids watched something and you've been like, oh, like, well, I actually like this and I want to like encourage them to watch it so that you can watch it too.
There's been a lot. They probably the most glaring example of How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah. Okay.
I think I love that movie more than my whole family.
Yeah.
That was an incredible movie.
That's
Where I was
hilarious
like,
because
I love this.
if I go back to the early dadhood,
Yeah.
the one of the first vacations we went on together, Stacy, because we're getting ready to head to Disney World for the weekend, and one of the first vacations I went on with Stacy and with Lexi, we stayed at this hotel, and in the evenings they had a movie screen that was in the uh, foyer there in the lobby. And I remember Lex and I sat there and we watched How to Train Your Dragon together, and it was awesome. Like
It
I
was
was
so
like,
awesome.
oh, this is so great,
It's
and they
so
had it
awesome.
like a couple nights later, and I went and watched it again. I was like,
I
I want to
seriously,
go watch
dude,
it
I
again.
watched it like 4 times the following week. It
The
it
one thing
is
that
one of my favorite animated.
it's really, really good. And I think the thing that surprised me, so the kids, so it was on Netflix, and the kids started
Oh,
watching
yeah,
it.
that, like, little spin-off dragon show?
No, 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 no. So
Oh.
this is something that, like, when I was younger, I was like, why would anybody watch? It's so stupid to me. But the kids started watching Power Rangers, Dino Charge or something like that on Netflix. And I was like, the first time the kids were watching it, I just rolled my eyes. I was like, you know. And then I remember I was sitting in the kitchen and they've got it on the TV, and I'm like, and so I'm starting to watch it, and then and I'm like,
Then you sit down on
daggone it, I'm like, shoot. I'm like, yeah, I sit down and start watching.
take
I'm
the
like,
popcorn.
yeah, right. I'm like, all right, all right. So now I'm like a Power Ranger. I'm like a Power Ranger fan, and
No,
I'm like,
no,
I
no, no,
yeah,
no.
and I'm like, I'm like, man, what's wrong with me?
Oh, man. It's so funny about Power Rangers. I feel like there's like a year or 2 younger than me. It was like the cutoff for Power Rangers, although I know Brett. Um, and, happy birthday, Brett King, this
Yeah,
past
happy
week.
birthday. Yeah.
Uh, um, anyway, Power Rangers, it was like, because like Morgan loves Power Rangers, and he's much, let me tell you, he's much younger than 3, 4 years younger. Anyway, he loves Power Rangers, and it's like there's like a cutoff, I feel like, because everybody in my grade
Yeah.
hated Power,
I had
and
Power.
everybody older than me hated Power Rangers.
I don't know who liked it
I don't know
because
either.
they
It
keep
was like
making it. They
it
keep making them.
was like it was a good period where they didn't have
Yeah.
any Power Rangers, and then
The
they
kids
came back.
turned it on, and I'm like,
Yeah,
just this junk.
yeah.
And then before you know it,
That was cool.
on the edge of the couch. Like,
Oh, man.
when's the next episode coming? They only have one season on Netflix. How could you do this to me? Like,
Not good, huh? I'll have to
no, it's terrible,
check
but I
that out.
still
Overall, yeah, it's so good. It's so bad. It's so good.
yeah, it's so bad it's good.
I'll have to start checking that
Yeah,
out. Great, great question, Meg, for the
yeah,
parents out there, which probably is just about everybody. And you know what? Or maybe your grandparent, you watch stuff with your kids. Let us know what are some of the things you love to watch with your kids, and some of the stuff that your kids watch. You're just like, oh my gosh, if I hear that Coco Melon, oh my god, I-
Coco
when
Melon. Yeah,
can Coco Melon be over? Man, Joey loves that stuff. Is like crack.
my
Kids,
kids never watched it, so I'm grateful.
they missed it. Yeah, Joey loves her some Coco Melon. Great question, Meg. Thanks for sending that one in. Um, we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna take a couple week break. We'll be back in December. Got some fun things coming up for the holiday season. Um, but ultimately in 2023, you're gonna see this show really, really, really ran in different. I think you're gonna love it. We've got some really fun stuff planned. Um, I am I am very, very excited for the new season of the Nerd Rundown, and this whole entire show is going to grow. Cannot wait. I know we said that in the past. These things take time, so
Yep.
I'm very, very excited. We've got a lot of stuff that we're going to be announcing here over the next month. That um, I'm just I love this, man. I love getting on here. Love nerding out with you,
Yep. Me
and
too.
I hope I hope everybody's having a good time with this.
Yep. Yeah, and
We're
you could
having a
look
good
forward
time.
to. We will be doing obviously this past Sunday we had 2-hour premiere for Yellowstone, so we'll be doing a recap show once I get back from my vacation, so we'll probably start that episode 4, maybe 3, 4, something like that. So we'll get into that. Start doing a recap for that. Looking forward to a recap of Jack Ryan. Lots.
Cannot freaking wait for Jack Ryan, dude.
Yeah.
That might be my most anticipated thing. It's only a month away.
Coming up quick. Yep.
Oh man. All right. Well, we're gonna take a couple week break because we got a lot of stuff that's gonna need to be covered here coming up soon.
Yep.
So stay tuned on the Nerd Rundown, on the audio only people, wherever you find your podcasts, YouTube. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff. We'd love it if you grow with us. So, big time rundown. Got my main man, Chris Evans, the sexiest man alive. Finally, really, a lot of nostalgia type stuff in here. See how it all plays out, but stay tuned to the Nerd Rundown for more. And with that being said, Eric, have a great vacation.
Thanks, brother. I'll end it with why Johnny Ringo. You look like someone just walked over your grave.
See y'all in a few weeks.